warranted in this matter.
Correct.
So this lengthy, expensive, and independent investigation resulted in a complete exoneration of President Joe Biden. For every document you discussed in your report, you found insufficient evidence that the president violated any laws about possession or retention of classified materials. The primary law that you analyzed for potential prosecution was part of the Espionage Act, 18 U.S.C. 793E, which criminalizes willful retention or disclosure of national defense information. Is that correct?
Congresswoman, that is one statute that we analyzed. I need to go back and make sure that I take note of the word that you used, exoneration. That is not a word that
I'm going to continue with my questions. I'm going to continue with my questions. I know that the term
I ultimately reached whether sufficient evidence existed such that the likely outcome
you exonerated
would be a conviction.
I know that the term willful retention has a Mr. Hurd, my time. Thank you. I know that the term willful retention has a particular legal meaning, and I want to make sure that that meaning is absolutely clear to the American people before we go any further. As you wrote in your report, to prove as a matter of law that the president, quote, willfully retained any documents, you would need to prove beyond a reasonable doubt two elements. First, that the president knowingly retained or disclosed national defense.
So I thought I couldn't get more embarrassed. I thought the embarrassment hit the glass ceiling when it came to Solwell, Shifty Schiff, Nadler, and a host of others. But I had to share with you some more clips from these people. And I don't know if you heard it or not, but Cori Bush, this is obviously Representative Jayapal, who tried to get Robert Hur to say that he exonerated President Biden, which he didn't. And he said very clearly, matter of fact, for the record, I did not exonerate him. Representative Cori Bush, who I'm going to show you next, says something that I think is probably the most reprehensible thing an individual representing the United States has ever said about anyone, let alone the former president of the United States. And then stick around to the end of this video. If you're just kind of tuning in here, this is special prosecuting attorney, special counsel Robert Hur. He testified live today in front of Congress about his report where he said that basically the president was too cognitively in decline to be tried for any criminal charges related to classified documents. I'm going to share with you at the end of this video, make sure you stick around, but you don't want to miss these clips coming up. I'm going to share with you at the end of this video, special counsel Hur actually answers and speaks on all of the hype, all of the news, all of the attention and the buzz around that document that went public of him stating that Biden was not cognitively able to, basically he's just too old and too, there's no elevator on the top floor, as Senator Gates says, to be tried criminally. He speaks on that very cogently, I might add. Stick around for that because he speaks on that very specifically. But check this out.
Classified information is a serious issue, and I believe it was appropriate for the Attorney General to appoint both special counsels in the Biden and Trump cases. As my colleagues have pointed out, President Biden fully complied with the investigation conducted by special counsel Hur, who did not find evidence sufficient to warrant criminal charges. Despite this outcome, Republicans have used the special counsel's report to further their longstanding efforts to re-elect the former white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump, who faces 40 criminal charges related to the mishandling of classified documents.
Did you see Hur's reaction there? And yes, you heard that correctly. She said, former white supremacist in chief. She called Donald Trump. I'm going to replay this in just a second. I want you to notice Hur's reaction. It's the same exact reaction I think most sensible, logical, decent human beings who love their country feel. You refer to the former president of the United States as the former white supremacist in chief with a straight face, not at a bar, not at a restaurant, not at a salon, not at a barbershop, not in your own private time, in your own private home, but in a public, nationally televised severe case, severe Senate committee hearing. in front of the entire world, you embarrassment. I want you to think of this, Nez Nation, as you're watching this. What would happen if the shoe was on the other foot? Because nobody's making it, mainstream media is not talking about this. Nobody's talking about this. What would happen if Representative Cori Bush was, let's say, Laura Boebert or Marjorie Greene Taylor? Or, I mean, those are just the first that come to mind. But let's just say it was somebody who didn't look and wasn't the same gender of Cori Bush. Let's say it was Matt Gaetz, who said, something about President Obama in the same kind of line of utterly bigoted and discriminatory, inflammatory language. What do you think would happen? What do you think would happen? Let me know in the comments. I'm going to replay this. Unbelievable.
In the Biden and Trump cases. As my colleagues have pointed out,
watch his reaction.
President Biden fully complied with the investigation conducted by Special Counsel Hur, who did not find evidence sufficient to warrant criminal charges. Despite this outcome, Republicans have used the Special Counsel's report to further their longstanding efforts to re-elect the former white supremacist in chief, Donald Trump, who faces 40 criminal charges related to the mishandling of classified documents, including obstruction of justice. While President Biden returned all of the classified material and complied with the Special Counsel's investigation, let's remind ourselves what Donald Trump has said and done.
No professionalism.
He refused to turn over the classified documents in his possession to the National Archives. He is on tape.
I can't listen to this anymore. You have zero professionalism. You are an utter abomination. You have failed to represent your constituents. You have failed to represent America. You are a DEI elected official for sure, 1 billion%, and it is a giant embarrassment. You're no better than Fannie Cash Money G. Willis. You're no better than Letitia Corrupt James. You're no better than any of these individuals out there that are Tiffany gangbanger. What's her name? That mayor that that vetoed anybody going into her personal information. She's basically laundering money. I forget her name because I lose count. I mean, they just get worse and worse and worse. You call yourself a congresswoman, Representative Bush? You should be ashamed of yourself. Your district should be ashamed. Your state should be ashamed of you. You are an utter abomination. White supremacist in chief? Let me know in the comments what you think of that. Here's another dumbbell. Check this out.
On an important point. Very sadly, your report on page 208 says that Mr. Biden couldn't come up with the date, the year of his son, Beau Biden's death, when in fact in the transcript it shows that you asked him the month. And do you know what he said, Mr. Hur? He said, oh God, May 30th. Would you like to correct the record? His memory was pretty firm on the month and the day.
Congresswoman, I don't believe that's correct with respect to the transcript. But if you could refer me to a specific page, I'd be happy to look.
I've read about it in reporting. Thank you. I yield back.
Chair now recognizes Mr. Kiley.
I yield back.
Pathetic. It's so
Chair now
in reporting.
I read it in the reporting. I basically just made it up on the spot, but go ahead. I'll yield my time. Listen to this absolute degradation.
That's correct with respect to the transcript. But if you could refer me to Congresswoman, I don't believe that's correct with respect to the transcript. But if you could refer me to a specific page, I'd be happy to look.
I've read about it in reporting. Thank you. I yield back.
So wait a minute. Time out. Why wouldn't you point it out specifically where you saw that language? So this is Representative Dean, who basically says she's, desperately, like all of her other colleagues on that side of the aisle, desperately fighting tooth and nail, grasping at utter, not even straws, molecules of straws, to try to prove to the American public what everybody already knows. I mean, these atrocious enablers, these fantasy-filled apparitions of representatives, they should all be imprisoned. This is hypocrisy at the highest level. They're going after Trump. They're going after a guy who I truly believe doesn't need the money. He doesn't need to do this. He's doing it because he actually knows he can make this country better. Yeah, it might have some kind of business benefit down the road or for his kids or whatever, but I truly, genuinely believe he loves his country, and I truly, genuinely believe he's the best person for the job. These guys are grasping at molecules of straws. It is beyond pathetic. Why wouldn't you point out this? I mean, Special Counsel Hur was ready to do it. I don't think that's correct, but can you point? No, I already read it in the record. Anyway, never mind. It's so pathetic. Nez Nation, am I nuts? Am I nuts? Let me know in the comments. Okay, now this is probably the clip that we've all been waiting for. This is a super, super important clip because this is what all the hubbub is about. This is what has been haunting President Biden for the last 2, 3, 6, for years, but definitely in the last 6 to 8 months, it's gotten heated, is his cognitive decline. Is he fit for office? Is he too old? Robert Hur's assessment in that famed document that went viral basically said he was too old to be tried for criminal charges. He didn't even know what he was doing. His memory was off. Further confounding everybody in America, further worrying his base, further, adding fuel to the fire for his opponents. And here we have the actual man himself who wrote that document, who wrote that assessment. He is going to finally respond for the record publicly from his own mouth, from the horse's mouth. Here it is right here. Check this out.
There has been a lot of attention paid to language in the report about the president's memory, so let me say a few words about that.
Please do.
My task was to determine whether the president retained or disclosed national defense information willfully. That means knowingly and with the intent to do something the law forbids. I could not make that determination without assessing the president's state of mind. For that reason, I had to consider the president's memory and overall mental state and how a jury likely would perceive his memory and mental state in a criminal trial. These are the types of issues that prosecutors analyze every day. And because these issues were important to my ultimate decision, I had to include a discussion of them in my report to the Attorney General. The evidence and the president himself put his memory squarely at issue. We interviewed the president and asked him about his recorded statement. Quote, "I just found all the classified stuff downstairs," end quote. He told us that he didn't remember saying that to his ghostwriter. He also said he didn't remember finding any classified material in his home after his vice presidency. And he didn't remember anything about how classified documents about Afghanistan made their way into his garage. My assessment in the report about the relevance of the president's memory was necessary and accurate and fair. Most importantly, what I wrote is what I believe the evidence shows and what I expect jurors would perceive and believe. I did not sanitize my explanation, nor did I disparage the president unfairly. I explained to the Attorney General my decision and the reasons for it. That's what I was required to do.
So that's absolutely huge. He stands by everything he said. I was really, honestly, throughout this entire hearing, I was very impressed with Special Counsel Hur. I thought he was forthright. I thought he was articulate. I thought he spoke clearly, and he provided evidence, and he provided actual reasons as to why he came up with these assessments, as to why he wrote what he wrote. I like how he said I didn't sanitize it, nor did I try to disparage the president. I mean, I don't know. What do you guys think? I think it's interesting. I'm just still reeling from the embarrassment as a proud American of these unbelievably atrocious. I mean, it's just so embarrassing. It's god-awful. These are the representatives. These are the people that we have in Congress. It's almost like we've lowered the bar so low that any lunkhead can get into office if they just say the right things. America, can you please exercise your sovereignty, your critical thinking? This is the most consequential year of our republic. I'm going to repeat that every video if I have to. Your vote has consequences. This is insane. Can you imagine what other countries are thinking? Do you want Rome to fall during our lifetime, our children? I mean, I know Rome's eventually going to fall. Hopefully not, knock on wood. I love my country, and I want my great-great-grandkids to. The whole point is that our country flourishes. But this is like, this is a barometer. This is a symbol of where we are as a country. These are our representatives. I mean, Ren and Stimpy, Lunky and Lunkhead, it is abominable. It's beyond abominable. It's embarrassing, not only to us as hopefully critical thinking citizens who are patriotic and love their country, but to the world, the perception. This is a global world now. We are interconnected in more ways now than we ever have been. And so our ethos and credibility is perceived on global scales. This is unbelievable, these people. Unbelievable. I throw this off to you, Nez Nation. I want to hear what you think. Did you watch the hearing? Did you watch my last video? I'll leave it in the screen, or just go on my YouTube or Rumble and watch it there. My last video was showing how Jim Jordan really nailed it and talked about his $8 million book deal and talked about a lot of things that Biden did that her actually corroborated and actually confirmed. So check that video out if you haven't. That was posted earlier today. I try really hard to respond to all the comments. It's literally impossible to get to all of them. So I apologize because I'm just so excited by all the engagement. Obviously, super chats, super thanks, and members, channel members get first priority. Consider becoming a member. It all goes back into the channel. If you made it this far, as always, become a Nez Nation insider. This is our awesome, tight-knit community of people who care about our country, who are raising awareness, the truth, objectivity, what these mainstream media won't cover. It's our free email newsletter. It's in the pinned comment. Just click on that link and then click on newsletter. Okay. And then just put your best email in there. It's very simple. 1, 2, 3. It's free. So you never miss out. Mainstream media won't cover this stuff. Legacy media won't cover this. You want to become an insider. Check out the videos that we posted. This is the video I posted earlier today with Jim Jordan and Special Counsel Robert Hur today. Check that video out if you haven't already. As always, God bless you, Nez Nation. God bless your family. God bless America. And I'll see you soon.